It's 12:40 a.m. on the 17th of July, 2026, and I've been out here in this trailer since, I'm trying to think, has it only been from, I think it was around 10:30 that I got out here. Because a car came down the street. Let me check. I wrote it down. I'll put this on pause. A car came down the street at 10:54 p.m. So, for most of the time, I've been sitting in a chair here in the trailer, and I've been in a kind of a half sleep, fighting to try to stay awake, but I've been kind of half asleep, half awake, and now I've only been here roughly 2 hours, but it seems like I've been here for 8 or 9 or 10 hours, like a very long time, but I haven't. Who was it that came down the street at 10:54? Well, 54 in the number symbolism that's developed between me and the secret police who've been harassing me and my wife mercilessly for a decade now. 54 means what? 54 was the age of the concentration camp survivor friend of mine when our 2-year affair was in full swing. And you could say that she was having the time of her life by having this affair with me. Because let's face it, I was a virile, smart, and attractive young man of 25, 26, and I was healthy, I was strong, athletic. I'd been an athlete when in high school, so I'm still athletic to this day. I'm in my 70s, but I can play tennis and this kind of thing, and I'm still athletic, so I'm strong. I'm physically strong, and I'm in pretty good physical condition. And back then when I was 25, you might say I was at the height of my handsomeness, if you will, as a man, as a young man. And I was known to be somewhat handsome as a man, as a boy, and so on. So this woman, who was 27 years older than I was, who was not physically attractive, at least in the sense that you would describe physically attractive in comparison with leading ladies in movies who are going to play starring roles as a romantic lead in movies, or let's just leave it at that. She did not look that way. She looked like a woman aging. Okay, and how old was she? I'm saying 54 when the relationship there was in full swing. And she looked like a 54-year-old woman. She was a white woman. Now, I have since learned from being married to an Asian woman that it appears that Asian women age a lot differently than white women do, and white women tend to look a lot older faster than Asian women, okay? That's not necessarily a strike against white women, right? But I just want to say that this woman at 54 looked like a 54-year-old white woman. That is not a woman who would be sexually attractive to a virile young man looking for a kind of leading lady, right? The woman of his dreams to marry and ride off into the sunset with, to live happily ever after. This is a middle-aged woman approaching old age, 54, right? You start getting up into the 60s, you're on the portal of old age. And so, there's a lot of irony in this number 54 as being like, oh, how wonderful, it's 54. Well, 54 must have been a great year for her because she had this virile, handsome young man, as you might say, a boy toy for sexual gratification, which is what she wanted out of this relationship. She wanted sex. She told me from the start that's what she wanted. She wanted sex, and she was getting sex. Okay. Let me just say that we might be together for 2 hours in bed when we got together. And during those 2 hours, we were naked, side by side in bed. We'd come to orgasm together 4 times. Now, after I had been declared to be crazy, soon after, and when I was in my 2 years of agony, I was seeing this one particular mental prison guard. You would call that a psychiatrist out there in your terminology. I said to the psychiatrist, that I had had an affair with a woman, and when we were together, we might be together for 2 hours. During those two hours, we had these 4 orgasms together, right? And the woman said, This is a mental prison guard with degrees and everything from a university. She says, you had emissions 4 times? I said, yes. She said, no, this is not possible. I said, what do you mean? She says, no, that couldn't have happened. Well, anyway, it did, and I don't think 4 is particularly unusual for a virile, athletic young man. And probably it's not unusual, probably. Okay. For example, I did read a book when I was a teenager, maybe 15 years old, written by an African American author. And his character in that book was in a relationship with a woman, and they were coming to orgasm 4 times together in a hotel. I saw that in the book, so there it was. Okay, now, I'm just saying the number 54 has all these connotations to it. Okay, 54 is like, oh, 54, a great thing. If you were her, this would have been great because she wanted the sex. She was getting the sex. Okay, and she was getting a lot of good sex. And I'm not bragging or blaming her. in any way. I'm just trying to relate facts here, okay? And I'm saying that all I just said, 54 must have been a great year for her. She was getting what she wanted. Now, that wasn't what I wanted. For example, when this relationship with her was about to start, I wrote her a letter saying that in this relationship, I wanted to, no matter how corny this might sound, I told her in the letter, I want to learn about love. I said that. I wasn't in this for sex. I mean, obviously. What kind of a sexual partner was this for me? It wasn't anybody that had the least bit of sexual attraction to me. And once again, I don't mean to be sounding like I'm criticizing her in this way. I'm just trying to relate facts. These are facts, okay? I was someone who didn't want to be in this relationship at all. I wanted a young woman, a young, attractive woman that I could marry and have a normal life with. But I couldn't find any such woman. And so by the time I was 25, I had never had even a girlfriend. And I was in this bizarre life I didn't understand, that I've come to understand in my old age. And I don't think I need to do any more explaining than that. All I'm trying to talk about is the number 54. So, a secret police car, or the person I'm calling Bishuasi came down this street where I'm pointing my camera at 54 minutes after 10 o'clock, and not a single other car has come down that street since that time. And my experience in keeping a vigil like that, I've been doing this for a couple of years now, off and on, is there aren't going to be more than one or two cars that come down this street at all, okay? So while I'm in my house, you know, I'm not watching to see if cars are coming down the street. So the blinds are going to be closed in our house the way they are for most people at night. And you're not going to notice that, but if you're out here watching the street like this, hoping that this person will show up, you'll notice that nobody comes down this street. And if anybody does come down, who is it? Okay? This is a terrace street. Okay? I'm pointing the camera. You see those lights up there? Those lights are the lights at a house that's in an intersection between this street, which intersects a road going from right to left up there. Okay? And that road going from right to left up there passes through this neighborhood. But this street that comes down past our house, it's called a terrace street, and it kind of makes a loop from that light down to where I am, and then around back to that street a little bit further down. Okay? Let me get up and walk over there. Why not? I mean, I don't see why I shouldn't. Okay. This terrace street comes from those lights up there. Here's the street coming out of here. It goes down there. You see that truck there? And not far from that truck, it turns to the right and intersects back up with the street, you see, passing from right to left, past those lights up there. You see? So nobody is going to come down this street to take a shortcut. This is a long way around if you're going anywhere, okay? It doesn't go anywhere but from that street that's going from right to left, and that's hidden by these houses here. It's beyond those houses. And this street hooks back up to it down there. You're not going to take a shortcut. So the only cars coming down this street are going to be the people who live here, or cars that have something to do with the people who live here, right? People visiting them, friends, or businesses. They're going to mow lawns, this kind of thing. Fix things and all that. Well, you see any cars coming down the street? No, this is the way it is. Just about all night, there's no traffic here at all. So if you're out here like me, looking for a person to come down the street, and when the cars do come down, they're coming slowly, like they're aware that I'm here. Real slow. And someone will stop, okay? And I've said that about a year ago, a car did come down while I was in the trailer right there. And it came to a stop right here by my mailbox. Came slowly down, like it, with lights off and the engine off, and it just drifted down slowly, stopped right here. The front of the car was about equal to that mailbox of ours, and the driver's door was right where I'm standing. Okay, and I'm watching from the trailer there. I was laying on the floor in the dark. There weren't any lights on in the trailer. I don't know why I did that, but that particular night, a few minutes after midnight, I came out here. And I got in the trailer and laid down on the floor, was just laying there with the door open like that. And this car drifted down and stopped right here. Then the person, it was a woman who looked like the woman I've been looking for to come and meet me. And she stopped. She opened her car door after looking at her phone a little while in the car. And she got out and stood right here, took her phone out, the way I got my phone right in front of me, and she was looking at that phone for a few minutes and all. And then she, finally, after doing that for a while, she came around here as if to check the right front tire of her car. And she did a kind of a pirouette. I hope I didn't turn my camera off. She did kind of a pirouette. I don't know if you can see this, but like this, to look at her wheel. And then she came back around, got in her car, and drove off. And it looked exactly like the woman that I've been wanting to meet, but like a younger version of her. So to this day, I don't know if that was her or not, but since it didn't look like what I expected, and I have almost been murdered, okay? I was almost murdered in 1982, and the consequences of that have been a life in complete seclusion, ostracized by false accusations that I'm as crazy gets, and I'm a danger to humanity worldwide. So there's nobody wants to be anywhere near me. And they don't want their kids near me, and they don't want near me themselves. And I've been in this life like that, under false accusations of that kind. I'm not crazy. Never have been. And so I was almost murdered, and I was in 2 years of agony as a result. I survived that murder attempt, so I'm going to come out to somebody in front of my house that way, as if it's nothing. When that, I think it was within that night even, or within days of this experience, I was talking about how there have been murders in a park not far from this house, where I used to play as a kid. murders by Hispanic women, attractive Hispanic women, for this gang, a Hispanic gang called MS-13. So this woman who stops in front of my house, what does she look like? She looks like an attractive young Hispanic woman. And a day or two before she stops in front of my house, I've been talking about murders committed by women like this. The one I talked about was showing news clippings about it, showed that this Hispanic woman who was a member of that gang, she lured a young man to this park not far from here to have sex with him. Okay? She lured him there and then gruesomely murdered the guy, taking out his heart and burying it at one place, and I don't know, cutting up his body and burying the body parts in various parts of the park. So I'm going to come dancing out of my house when I see a Hispanic woman like that stop in front of my house, when I know people have tried to murder me and probably want to murder me now. I'm going to come dancing out of this trailer when I see somebody like that. No, I'm not. So I stayed where I was, and then the woman drove off. But somebody did come here, just as I expected might. And since that time, I've said to myself, that was probably the woman I wanted to meet. That's who it was, but once again, it didn't look like her. So anyway, I've been out here because I'm saying, and I'm noticing, that while I'm sitting in here looking out at the street there, I am a lot like Papillon, who was on Devil's Island. And if you've seen the movie, you see that Papillon is there trapped on Devil's Island. He's been accused of murdering somebody, and he says he never did murder anyone, and he's innocent of this charge against him. And he got this horrific sentence of life imprisonment on this inescapable island prison. Okay, so from the minute he gets there, he's trying to escape. And that's what I've been doing. Ever since I was grabbed in 1982, nearly murdered, I've been trying to escape this whole thing. To this day, and I'm in my 70s now, I'm very much like Papillon. Although he, as far as I know, he was younger than I was by the time he escaped from Devil's Island. Okay, he was younger than I was, as I recall. Now, while sitting here watching the street, I am very much like Papillon. He was standing or sitting from where he would be looking out at the ocean there while on Devil's Island, right? Or one part of Devil's Island, he's looking out at the ocean. And while looking, every day after day after day, he came to the realization that there was a current, apparently, that flowed from the island out toward the mainland in the distance, which you couldn't see, of course. But so he built himself a raft out of coconuts and decided, I'll just throw that raft out there, get on it, and let the current take me to the mainland, right? Crazy, right? But he's an old man. He didn't want to die on Devil's Island. So he's an old man. He figures, I'm going to die anyway. Why die here? I want to try to get free. I'll risk it. So I'm the same way. I'm now an old man. I've been in this horrific injustice virtually my entire life. Certainly for over the past 40 years, since 1982. And I'm an old man. I'm going to pass away, right? I hear people dying every day now. They're 71. I'm in my 70s. I'm older than 71. And I hear about people dying when they're 71, 72, 73, 70, they're dying. So realizing that my life is going to come to an end, I'm like Papillon now. I'm saying, I'm going to give it all I got to escape this horrific injustice that's been meted out to me. And so here I am. And, well, I'm not watching the ocean, but I am watching that street, and I've been watching it now for a couple of years. Have any ideas come to me about how to escape this awful life by watching what I'm watching right now? No, I've said to myself, I got to stay here and watch for this person to show up and get me out of here, because my experience in trying to run off, this is the description I use, it hasn't been helpful. I've tried to run off from this life that I've been in, beginning as a late teen. I started running off occasionally to try to escape, and these runoffs, these runnings off have never been successful, not a single time. So by the time I'm an old man like now, I realize I'm not running off anywhere. So I'm saying, I've been making these videos to try to reach this person who I believe was sending communications to me. I don't know if she's seeing these videos, because when I look online, where I put them online, I see at most is like 1 view or 2 views. Now, I have some experience with putting things online. How? I published all my own writings. I self-published all my own writings. I had 50 online publications that I put on there, quite professionally, online, and I was getting downloads of my writings. So I would be watching every day. Certain books of mine were downloaded so many times, and I had a readership in the thousands of readers, right? That's no thing to be big proud of, right? Like you have a novel that gets published, right? I would expect that if you got published across the United States, you would have to sell at least 40,000 copies of your book, probably, to justify any publisher spending the money to put your book in print. So you're talking 40,000 copies in a single year, right? I don't think I had anything like that, but I would say that all my books and writings, I don't want to say, but I had quite a lot of downloads of my books. So when I see now that putting these videos online, and I still have books online, I've taken most of them off, but for various reasons, and I have a few online. I'm not watching the downloads, but they are occasionally being downloaded. And so when I see these videos I'm making only have 1 or 2 views, I'm saying it's probable that the people I'm calling the bad guys who have kept me in this miserable life that I've been in, they've kidnapped my phone, and they're controlling what I'm seeing there. It may be that my phone has been captured. Like I saw on Japanese television a story about a Chinese dissident and his wife. And the Japanese news program said that the dissident was imprisoned in China, and the wife's phone was captured by the secret police of China. And although it seemed to this woman that she was online, okay, sending messages out into the world and all, the Japanese news reporters who did this story said that no such thing was true. The authorities, the secret police, had control of this woman's phone, And she thought she was sending messages out, and she was doing nothing of the kind. They'd seized control of her phone, and she was not on the internet at all, no matter what it looked like to her. So, is that what's happened to my phone? Maybe it has, but what am I going to do about it? I'm not going to do anything except continue to make messages, because the messages are real. I'm making these videos, and I'm saving them. So they are a record as far as they go of the kind of thoughts that I'm expressing right now. And hopefully they're getting out there. And it could be that what I'm seeing on my phone is not actually what's happening. I don't know, but once again, I don't have any power to alter that situation. I simply don't. So here's my situation. I'm watching the street here, and it could be that I'll eventually figure out how to get out of here the way Papillon figured out how to get off Devil's Island. This woman I was hoping to show up, she may never show up, but I'm going to go on living till I pass away, right? And I'm going to go on trying to get out of here till I can no longer try to get out. Well, that's where I'm at right now. So this is quite a long message. As messages go for me, I see it's over 30 minutes long. But that doesn't particularly bother me. I am not going to give up trying to escape this horrific injustice that I've been done in this life. I'm going to go on trying to escape. And let me conclude with something I've been saying over and over in these messages, okay? It is a privilege to be able to help a person, okay? If a person will accept help from you, you're being granted a privilege by that person, okay? And I'm saying I'm not going to accept any help from Americans. This is America. I'm in the United States. Because of the injustices done by the citizens here to me, I don't want any help from the folks here, and I won't accept any. So when I get out of here, it's not going to be through help from anybody here. They're the neighbors and the rest of the population out there. I don't want their help, and I'm not going to accept it. These folks have done evil to me on the level of a human rights atrocity. That's the best way I can express it. And so, what I just said. So, my getting out of here is going to come through some kind of a miracle, I guess, or however I might get out of here without any so-called help from anybody here, okay? I'm not going to accept any help from Americans. They're out. They're disqualified from having anything to do with me because of the evil they've done to me. And you could say that they're disqualified for a lot more reasons than the very ambiguous charges I'm making here. I mean, they're not trustworthy. They falsely accused me. They've continued punishments on me that I should never have suffered. They deny the entire thing. So from my point of view, they're liars and they're cheats. They've cheated me out of my life with their lies, and they're evil. So, as I say again, they're disqualified from helping me. Now, I'm going to go out and shoot them and blow them up and this, that. No, I'm not. I don't do that kind of thing. And that's not how I'm going to get out of the United States. I have no such desire to harm anyone physically or any other way. Let me just be clear, as the lawyers say, about all that. Because there's plenty of this is the country of false accusations, in my opinion. Are you going to come and kill me for saying these kind of things? Wow, are you evil here? Wow, are you evil? So, once again, it is a privilege to be able to help somebody, and I'm not going to grant anybody in this country that privilege. I'll get out of here. I believe I will. But it's not going to be from any help that Americans give me. It's simply not. Now, I'm going to get help from spies or something. No. I'm not going to do any of the kind. There are plenty of legal ways that I can leave the United States, okay? I have enough money as a retired person to afford to go to various countries and so on. My priority has been to get together with this person who I consider to be a dream come true as a soulmate that I've met in my old age. And so, I'm keeping up my vigil to meet her. When or if that comes to an end, then I'll be considering these other perfectly reasonable alternatives for leaving the United States. There are various countries I can go to. I have enough money. I'm not a criminal. I've no criminal record of any kind, and I won't be barred from leaving the United States by these other countries. So I will be able to leave in some reasonable way. It's just that is not my first choice at the present time. My first choice is to get together with this person I've been calling Bishuasi. So I'm keeping up my vigil, and I'll do this. I'll give it all I've got until I'm finally, if things should come to that, unable to go on with vigils like this, saying, well, I gave this thing, so far I've given it more time than the United States gave to its war with Japan during World War II. The United States was in that war 3 years, 8 months, and 7 days. And I have now been devoting my energies to begin a relationship with this person I've been calling Bishuasi for 3 years, 8 months, and a little more than 7 days, okay? It was 7 days on the 14th of July. Today is the 17th of July. So that's an important marker, if you will, because this person is Japanese, and my father, the man who was supposed to have been my father, I don't believe he was my biological father, he was importantly in the war against Japan during World War II. And I've stated his exact length of term of service during the war that I get from his honorable discharge, which I have. And can refer to get the exact term of his service. It's less than 3 years, 8 months, and 7 days. But that's all. It's 3 years and some months, and not quite 8 months, and so on. He was in most of that war. So the war figured importantly in our family. Okay, the war with Japan. And this woman is Japanese. So all this has been important, and I've wondered, have difficulties in me and this person in getting together been due in any way to some kind of ongoing effects of relations between the United States and Japan, and what that war meant to the relationship between the United States and Japan. I don't know. Well, those are my thoughts. And I think I'm going to go back in my house now. It doesn't look like anything's happening. My experience with these vigils is, after one car comes down the street, there aren't going to be any more. Okay? So, was that her, or was that a secret police car there to confuse me, or was that just some errant car making a mistake by passing through this neighborhood at 10:54 p.m.? I don't know. It wasn't her, because she didn't stop and meet me, but there's reasons she might not be stopping to meet me. So, as I say, I'll keep up this vigil until it's no longer reasonable to do that. I have to look for some other way to leave the United States than through a relationship with this person. That's all from me for now. Bye for now.